Next, I'm going to introduce a new thing we do in some of our shouts together, a new little segment. I'm going to call it Practical Magic for the Modern Merlin. Yeah. We talk a lot. I talk a lot. We're going to start getting into it, actually doing it. So we don't have any drum roll music. Let's just oh, there we go. Now, and maybe you could do a little video thing before our next session. But you got 2 months, Calder's telling me. Practical magic for the modern Merlin. Yes. So, this is, by the way, this is a wand, a magic wand. And you can buy one now before midnight for just $595 and free shipping. And it's magical. And it's total distraction. It's a nice stage prop for me. And it looks so good. That's time for your shot crash.
Close your mouth.
Yeah, like that. Total distraction. It's just a piece of wood. It's pretty. It's nice. But this little piece of wood is a distraction so that you're looking over here and you're not really, you're letting things come in. You're looking over here. Every one of you should probably have one. But recognize total distraction. It's time to really allow energy to work for you. And in order to do so, I feel it's important for you, the human, to have a trigger. You think about it sometimes. You've heard me say the words energy serving you. You think about it, but now I want you to start doing it. Coming up with, first, a trigger. A trigger is either like a body gesture like that, something unique though, not something just everybody does, something that you can really, people think you're weird if you go around doing that, but something that is unique to you, meaningful to you, you have to do consciously. You have to really stop for a moment and do the thing. And again, all the time you can have your magic wand over here, but it's just a piece of beautiful wood. An energy trigger is when you say, energy, I command you to serve me. I command you to serve me. That's it. Or energy, serve me, if you don't like the word command. That's what it's all about. Energy is always here, and it's always serving you. That is true. It's not like it hasn't been here, but what happens is typically in a tight situation, the human's energy center, their energy sphincter, tightens up. You're in a tough situation, and what happens? You squeeze in. You restrict the flow of energy at a time when you should be open to energy. Suddenly, what's a good example? You're walking along the floor, you're out of your body as you are most of the time, you slip and fall, and as you're taking that tumble, it's like slow motion, some of you have been there, like slow motion, and you're like, oh, shit. and what happens is your energy sphincter tightens up, and I'm getting all this from you today, sorry. You bring in that toilet headband. It's like a faucet. Suddenly you turn the faucet nearly off. You restrict the flow of energy at the very time you should be opening it up. That's the way of the Merlin. And the Merlin, no matter what situation Merlin is confronted with, Merlin stops for a moment, does their trigger, whatever that happens to be. It could be a word, it could be a body gesture. Even if it's right in the moment of imminent danger, or high stress, or a situation where you feel might be insurmountable, that's when you stop and you do the trigger and you open to the energy rather than close to the energy. This is very, very important also to understand there is no agenda in it. When you do the trigger, it's not about saying, here's what I want for the outcome. The outcome of whatever happens is going to be perfect, and it always is. Maybe not in what the old human thought it should be, but it is going to be perfect. But when you're restricting the flow almost down to just a drip, drip, drip of energy, you're not going to get the full benefit of the magic, of the experience, and of the unfolding that comes with it. Think back into your life, situations that have come along. And it might have been physical, might have been financial, or emotional. In those situations, you generally bring in your energy, close it down, or you close yourself to that energy. You turn down the faucet. You restrict the natural flow of energy. And that's what's really the problem. It's not the situation that you're in. Magical things happen. You could be right within a second of a car accident, hitting somebody. And what you've been doing is closing down. Is like, oh crap, that's the time to open up. And that's when the magic happens, because then it can serve you. Basically, what you've been doing is saying to the energy, well, I don't want any more, no energy, or your mind has been saying, here's the outcome I want, and the energy ain't going that way. And in this case, it's like, open up and allow the energy to serve you in that moment. It doesn't have to be only at times of impending disaster or conflict or anything else. As a matter of fact, this is something you should consciously do 10, 20 times a day until you get so familiar with it. It's like allowing, you're opening up. The only thing that's been between you and the real magic has been the limitation or the restriction of energy. That's it. It's not that you're doing anything wrong or that you're not worthy or you're not magical. This is just a stick, but it's a great distraction. It's not because of that. It's because in difficult cases, you restrict the energy and you bring it right to there rather than being in your energy. You stop yourself. Triggers.
Right to there is where?
Right to there is I am. That's it. It's just, you don't even have to think about it. It's just me. I am. Instead of just thinking about it, instead of closing down. So a trigger could be a physical gesture that you make, but something unique. Like it could be clicking of the fingers. It could be creative. Come up with something that's not just common with everybody. Or a word. Not a word that's currently in use. Make up a word. I do it all the time. I love it. I'll make up all sorts of words. You know, why not? Because if the word is currently in usage, there's an energy associated with it, and it takes away the full expression. Come up with a word. And Shazam ain't the word, because everybody uses Shazam. Come up with a word that, and you don't have to just, again, feel into it. It'll come to you, whether it's a word or like a trigger mechanism with, hitting your knee or something like that. Something that reminds you it's time to open, not to close. That is Magic 101. Never, ever, 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 ever use it on another person. It's you and your energy. Never have an agenda or what you think should be the outcome. We'll only do that at graduate level. Right now, it's this simple. You open rather than close. You allow rather than restrict. At all times, remember, energy is your friend. It's there to serve you, and it's your energy. You spend eons of time playing the opposite game, but the natural fact is energy is yours, and it is your friend. It's never wanted to harm you or never wanted to hurt you. Never wanted to appear to be separate, but that's a game you played and it went along. Now, open up to energy. Come up with a word, come up with a body motion, a trigger that is yours, but never, ever use it on another person. It's not that I'm going to come after you, but that same energy will, whether you use it in love and compassion or whether you use it in hatred and anger against somebody, that's where you start getting into trouble. That's where you've gotten in trouble in the past. That's why you've closed down and held back. That's why I say stop trying to save the planet, because that's out of compassion and the planet is going to mess with you. Use it as your energy without even trying to have a desired outcome, and then watch the magic happen. The moment you desire an outcome, the moment that you're setting an agenda, you are limiting energy by its very nature. And then you're going to go mental when you simply allow it to be and allow whatever comes with your energy. It's not God's energy, it's not the planet's energy, it's not anybody's energy. The moment you allow your energy to be, you're going to discover what true magic really is. You're going to discover then how you can be in the midst of the chaos of the world, and it simply doesn't affect you. I'm being asked by several here watching and online, should we share it with others? I wouldn't. Why? What are you trying to trigger each other? My word, my body action is better than yours. Not that it's a big secret, but it's yours. Stop playing the game. Stop having to go out on social media, and some of you are already doing it, and say, oh, here's what I just came up with, or I knew this 5 years ago. And it's like, no, you didn't. No, you didn't. Jeez. So, your own trigger. It's yours. It's personal. Body motion, a word, something, and start getting used to it. Whether you're in the middle of a tough situation, whether you're just driving down the street, that word, that action, that trigger will have a conscious effect. You'll start remembering, that's right, I open to energy, I don't close to it. You're in a bad situation, you went to the grocery store and suddenly you're at the checkout line, you realize, oh, stupid me, I forgot my wallet today. That's the time, trigger. Now, if you expect your wallet to appear, you're doing it wrong. But follow the magic that happens from that moment. If you are expecting, oh, I have to do my Shazam thing because I forgot my wallet and then it's suddenly going to be there, you've just failed because you're not allowing the energy to serve you. You have a desired outcome that's often limited by the human agenda, and that blocks out the magic. Watch what happens if you just do your trigger and knowing that you're in an embarrassing situation, there's 20 people in line looking at you with great disgust, and you're fumbling around trying to find your wallet. Let that be the entry point for real magic to happen. It is amazing. Suddenly you get sick. Suddenly you come down with a bad flu. Come back to your trigger, and not to try to make yourself healthy. Not to try to say, I need to get over this flu because I have an important meeting in tomorrow. Not at all. Open to the energies rather than restrict the energies, and watch the magic that happens. And it's so simple, it's so beautiful. It's so magic 101. It's amazing. And this is just a prop. This is just a distraction. So if a bunch of you go out and get this, I'm going to even ask Caldera to post online where he got this. It's just a distraction. Humans need to see that sometimes. They can't possibly imagine that you by yourself can really be the magician, but you give you a little piece of wood to hold in your hand and suddenly you're God. So whether you do it now, whether you do it later, your trigger. And you're going to start to realize too, how much you've been closing down, you've been restricting at times when you should have been opening up. You just get a notice from the government, they're going to audit your taxes. You close down. You don't want to be seen. You don't want to deal with it. Last thing in the world, is that you want more energy, even though you're saying, God, I need money, I need something, help me. No, you close down. Watch what happens now Use your trigger, the trigger that says, I open to my energy. Not the government's energy, not to the authorities who are going to come and haul you off or anything like that, but to your own. This is where the real magic begins. And again, never, ever use it on another person, ever. You've gotten too much trouble for that in the past. Caused too many heartaches along the way. It is for you only, without agenda. Does that make sense? You're not using it to save the world. Because what's going to happen, here you are opening to more energy, and suddenly you're out of compassion for the rest of the world. Oh boy, you're going to feel the effects of it. It is for you only. Okay, I think we're pretty clear on that. Let's take a good deep breath. Good deep breath with that. Come up with a trigger, a word, a unique word, a word that's unique to you. A unique word, body movement, whatever it is that reminds you, I open to my energy. And then let the magic begin. No agenda. No figuring it out. Just open up. That's it. Open the valve rather than close it. Okay. I know there'll be questions on this, but for right now, just figure your own trigger and start using it. Start feeling into it 10, 20 times a day, just to get used to it, to realize, oh, this is my mechanism for opening the energies. Next, in our last session, I came up with this little thing called practical magic for the modern Merlin. Real basic, simple things, real easy things. Well, what was it last time we talked about, last shout? What was the practical magic thing? Stay open to the energy, yeah. And even, there's an imminent car crash, or you see a jar coming off the shelf and it's going to hit you on the head, whatever it happens to be, or you're just about to get in a fight with your spouse, or whatever it happens to be. There's a tendency to bring it in, to close down energy. It's like turning off a faucet. You want to slow down the volume of water coming out. Not. It's exactly the opposite. That's when you take a deep breath with your trigger word, if you have one, or a trigger thought, whatever it is. You stop for a moment and you open up. I mean, it's kind of weird because you think, why should I be opening up at this time of what could be a real disaster? That's the magic. Because suddenly you're opening to energy. You're allowing more probabilities and possibilities and potentials than ever before. That's when magic occurs. That's when it occurs. Today's practical magic from modern Merlins is very simple. We've talked about it before, but I wanted to go on record in the history books, is that 100% of the energy that you encounter is yours. There is no outside energy whatsoever. To me, it's so simple, so obvious. I mean, but yet, feel into humanity, other people you know. They're going somewhere else for their energy. They may not call it energy. They may call it a paycheck or emotional support. They may call it whatever. They're going somewhere else, including places like God. God doesn't have any energy. I mean, even if you went and begged God, you get down on your hands and knees and you prayed, could I have some energy? God is like, I don't have any. I don't have any. I'm all consciousness. What are you talking about? I'm not energy. It's all yours, every bit of it. Once you understand that there is nothing on the outside, and it's kind of, again, one of those weird things. You're like, yeah, but that the tree out there, that's not my energy. It is. It is. It's all your energy. There's actually really no tree out there. There's no tree. It's all your energy. What you are seeing right here, my dear friends, is your energy. That's it. We play a great big game in this, that energy's on the outside. Somehow you have to go out there to get it. We play a great big game that even I'm an outside energy called Adamus Saint-Germain. Yeah, it's your energy. Kind of freaks the mind out. The mind's like, well, no, I don't know. Let me touch you. No, you're not. It's your energy. It's all your perception. And I say it's your energy. You could also substitute the word perception. It's basically the same thing. Energy is just a way of perceiving. Energy is a song, it's a communication, it's a way to perceive and experience. So, modern or practical magic for the modern Merlin, suddenly understanding it's my energy there, all mine. Humans like to blame other people and like to think that everything's outside of them and that they ain't got shit, that they have very, very little and they have no control. That is a game. That is a bad game, but it's a game. And for the modern Merlins, you realize, no, it's all my energy, my perception. I don't need to get it. I don't need energy from any place else. I don't need anybody's approval on anything. It's all mine. Then the fun begins. Because you realize it's not about a lot of outside forces invading and attacking you and trying to take your little bit of your nuts that you squirreled away for the winter. And it's like, hell, hang on a second. Those are all my nuts. And the invaders are all me. And it's like, wow, what a great game. Then you start to have fun. It's mind-boggling. Because the mind is like, no, it couldn't be because I see other people. And it's like, actually, no, you really don't. There is a sense of perception that there's other soul beings. You're perceiving their consciousness, but it's your energy through which you perceive them. In other words, you're not really perceiving them. You're not really, it's not their energy. It's your perception. It's your big TV show or movie about them. They're kind of like, imagine that energy is a great big cloud, a mist, but it's all yours. There is a person on the other, a soul being on the other side of the mist that you perceive from soul being to soul being. But the energy between you and them is all you, and you're just perceiving them through your own energy fog or goggles or whatever. But it's all your energy. That's so simple, but yet the mind is going to resist it and rebel against it and try to overly philosophize it. Could you just take a moment without getting all head crapped and just take a moment and realize it's all my energy. And it's all here to serve me. And I have the maturity never to let it harm me, nor does it have an intent to harm me. But it's all mine, and it's here to serve me. That's amazing. That's, again, when the magic begins, because suddenly the energy doesn't have to play this game. Here's the energy like, oh, for Christ's sakes, once again, Billy gets up in the morning and he's playing this game that I'm outside of him. And so we got to go along with it because that's what soul being is doing. And that's what the human is doing. So we got to play this game. Imagine how relieved energy will be when you finally say, damn, this is all mine. It's my way of perceiving and experiencing reality. It's all mine. That's when the magic begins. That's when you realize there's no outside forces. There's nobody trying to take your energy. There's really not. There's no bigger energies. There's no boogeymen energies. There's none of that. It's all your own. When you start realizing that, the magic really starts happening. Then you can joyfully allow it to serve you. And you're not going to harm yourself. That's the other big thing. You're not going to harm yourself. You will not. You test yourself. I know that. You're going to test yourself in this and say, am I really ready and can I really do this? Go ahead and play test yourself, and then you're going to realize when you do that, damn, I do have the maturity, and this is all my energy. Let the fun begin. Next on the list, let's do this month's, I think I should just sit down and not move. Let's do this month's practical magic for the modern Merlin. This month is an interesting one. And where it's going to lead to is going to be a little bit of conflict with some of you, but I like that. Practical magic is that when magic occurs, when sovereign beings allow their energy to dance with each other. So magic occurs when sovereign beings, they get together and they allow their energy to dance. Now, that's really important, and I'll explain the other side of that coin in just a minute, but that's really important because you're beginning to do it and to see it. You know, if there's two sovereign beings who are not needing energy or anything else from anybody else, and you put a couple sovereign beings together, their creativity, their sovereign energy that's not trying to steal from anyone else, miracles, amazing things happen. We're beginning to see some of it with Shambhala all around, with some of you. Some of the examples you talked about today, the pavilion, sovereign beings, not all of them involved in the process. In other words, there was a lot of workers who weren't, and that's frustrating if you're a sovereign being and someone else is not. The movie that you're putting together, Rude Awakening, sovereign beings working on that. You still have the everyday parts and pieces that you have to contend to, but for those of you working on the film, you've begun to experience that. You get a couple of sovereign beings where there's no game playing, there's no energy stealing. You bring that together, phenomenal things occur that you could have never imagined. Now, yes, you still have to contend with regular humans to get some other parts done, and that's the hard part. Building the pavilion, the concept, the design, everything was brought together by sovereign beings, but you still had some workers who weren't quite so sovereign. But you know, when a couple of sovereign beings get together, amazing things occur. Now, I use the words carefully once again. I say when the sovereign beings get together and they let their energies dance together, then amazing things happen. In other words, you're not combining your energies. You cannot combine energies. But you can let energies play and dance together. Humans, for the most part, what they do is they're not sovereign. They don't understand energy, and they think if there is anything, it's outside of themselves. They become like wanting to be like little pieces of the puzzle. So in other words, they don't see themselves as whole and sovereign. They see themselves as a little piece and wanting to interconnect with the other pieces of the puzzle. For most humans, they are energy dependent on other people. And therefore, when they work together, often they fight. Often there's issues, everything from power and jealousy and other things. And most of the time, great things are not accomplished because they're not sovereign, they don't understand energy. So it takes a long time to do things, to work it out. There's a lot of experiences that occur on the way, but basically it's really hard to create and to manifest anything. You take a couple of sovereign beings, you don't have that issue. Things fly, things happen, things expand beyond. And it's not that I'm trying to put my energy into yours. We're simply taking ours and dancing together. Feel into that for a moment. You put two sovereign beings together that own their own energy, and now you can really dance. You put a couple of humans together that fear energy, that steal energy, and oftentimes it's disastrous. Other times it's just slow and laborious. Anyway, let's have some music and go into our first mirab. Let's take a deep breath together. We're not going to work real hard today. We're going to kind of mirab our way through this shoud. There's something very special about this time of the year also. I did a little homework, tapping into all of you here, all of you watching. Such a special time of the year. It wasn't just about Christmas presents and gifts, but maybe there was just a little bit more love at home. Even if the home was chaos, maybe just a little bit more love. Maybe just because everything settles down, I don't know, but if you feel into it, there's a time when, right about this time of the year, when you're very young, 4, 5, 6 years old, somewhere in there, when you're still very, very open. Let's go back and visit that. You, very young, this time of the year. And there you are, maybe dressed up for the holidays. Kind of a warmth in the house, especially if it was cold outside, kind of a special kind of warmth. Well, if you remember, everything at this time of the year is kind of a little bit more golden in its light. And not just the sunlight, but everything actually becomes a little bit more golden, especially when you're a child. There you are, all excited about Christmas. Well, yeah, there's a lot of other stuff going on with your family and things, but there you are. Here you're now really in the human body. You've been in that body for 4, 5, 6 years now. You know you're staying. There's sometimes doubt before that. Sometimes when you almost left. A lot of you got very, very ill when you were young. A lot of you had some of those very close calls with death. Because you weren't so sure you really wanted to stay, but you did, and here you are now. A young holiday child. That child somewhere deep within you, that child knew that was going to be a very important lifetime. The child also sensed, well, things that would come up later, challenges, fears, uncertainties. Would you get there? Would you be able to see your way through? Would you be able to kind of cut through the chaos of human life? Would you be able to release the family? Meaning let go of all the ancestral karma that you could now start feeling in your body. You know, as you really came into your body as a young child, you could also feel all of that. You could feel that it was a long path in an uncertain world. The fear, am I ever going to get there? Here you are, that young, excited, innocent young child, but also you were starting to feel the weight of the world, the weight of what was going on. So many of you growing up in times of real fear on the planet, wars, nuclear bombs. Some of you grew up in countries you didn't even know if you're going to have a meal on the table the next day. Growing up in dysfunctional families that you knew they were going to take a toll on your mind and your body. So here we have this young child, so excited, but yet feeling what might come. Here you are now, on the eve of your realization. You made it. It was tough, but you made it. Now if you would just be there with that young child of the past, that holiday child that you were, and let that child know it works out. It all works out. Really, really let yourself be there with yourself as that young child. It needs to hear this right now. It's like a Christmas future coming to visit the Christmas past. I made it. We made it. You say to this young child, I'll tell you the stories later. They're great stories, but we made it. You say to the young child, I don't know if you can even imagine this. The year 2020. It's 50 years in the future. 30 years, 20 years maybe. But at some time in the future, I don't know if you can even imagine that right now, but that's where I'm from. I'm here to tell you, we made it. Don't give up. Don't fear. Don't ever feel alone. Whether you're 5 years old as you are now, whether you're 10 years old, grow to be 20 years old, just remember we made it. Let that child that you were know this and give it a big hug. That child, next day or within a couple of days, will go to maybe a parent or a brother and sister or maybe a friend and say, I saw an angel the other day. An angel came and talked to me. The child will probably be kidded and harassed a little bit by its friends or siblings. They'll joke and say, sure. The angel came right down off the Christmas tree and talked to you, and that young child that you were saying, no, it just was there. I was laying in bed or was playing with my toys, and suddenly an angel came to me. My friends or siblings would say, well, what did the angel say? That you were stupid? You say, no, the angel, I don't really remember what the angel said. I just knew everything was going to be okay. I don't remember the words that the angel said. I just know that I don't have to worry anymore. When you try telling a parent that an angel came to visit me, I kind of pat you on the head, like, sure, okay. Maybe give you a religious lecture, tell you that angels aren't real, none of that, but you knew. You knew because a self from the future came and visited. That's what's happening right now. And this isn't just a game. I mean, it's really happening right now. And when that happens, here's the important thing. It changes the energy of what you, that child, will experience. It changes the energy in knowing that even in some of the toughest moments, there was always that angel at your side. It changes the energy because the young child, sensing now that it's in the body, sensing the ancestral portion of itself, sensing mass consciousness, sensing things that could come, suddenly feels it can do it. Suddenly realizes It can do it, and then the energies change and the experience itself changes. The experience changes. Even if you say, well, no, certain things happened in the past. Get over that. An experience, what the mind considers to something that happened in the past, is never locked in concrete. It's never set. It changes. The future is the past healed. The future is the past with an angel beside it. I don't use the term healing very often. I don't like how it's used now in society. I don't like the machio surrounding healing. I don't like anybody talks about their healing potions or their healing hands or any of that. So I rarely talk about healing. This, though, is healing. When you consciously go to yourself as a child, you say, it works out. We made it. We came into realization. It changes your history, changes what actually happened. It changes your perception of what your wounds were, what your shortcomings were, everything. It changes it. You can literally go into the past. Without trying to change the experience, you change the perception. That's healing, because then you realize there's never anything to battle. There really never really were any great big wounds. So visiting yourself Christmas time when you're about 5 years old has a profound effect on energy. A profound effect even right now on your own body and mind. This is healing. Let's take a good deep breath with that. So now, you right here now, the end of December 2019, you say, now, I'm sitting here. I'm still a little shaky. I still have some issues in my life. Will the future, the realized self, come and visit me right now? Absolutely. It's already here. The minute we started this Marab, the real reason was to bring that in, your realized self. Saying it all works out. 6 months from now, 12 months from now, 3 years from now, it all works out. You're not alone. It all works out. It says just take a deep breath and allow the magic. Okay, good deep breath. This, by the way, is practical magic for the modern Merlin. No, really, when you realize that there are no boundaries of time and space, when you realize that you're visiting yourself in the past and it changes everything, and you're being visited by your realized self right now. And it changes everything. This is practical magic. Not a lot of woo-woo, not a lot of waving of wands or sorcerers' songs or anything like that. It's allowing. Let's take a good deep breath. Thank you. So now let's go into the next phase. You ready to move on? Or you want to just hang out there for a while, call it a day, have a drink, Let's take a really good deep breath. Go into the and here. Yeah, you could still be in, wasn't that lovely energy? I'm going to bottle that and sell it. Call it Makio, something or other. Beautiful energy. And you can still feel it, hold on to it. You don't have to let it go because you're a master, a true master. It's only a master that can go back and visit itself as a child. That's only a master. You realize you here in the 2019 just went back and did the masterly thing. Remember I talk about the master goes and wisdomizes everything. That's what you just did. You just performed your first conscious act of being a master. Wisdomizing everything that has led up to now. Going all the way back to when you were just a few years old. That's it. It's that simple. Go back. Hey, I love you. Things work out just well. Great.